Hello, welcome to our weekly film show today.
Le moi du bout des lèvres, moi je l'entends du bout du cœur. Moins fort, calmez donc cette fièvre. Oui, j'écoute.
Run? Sure.
And we're joined in the studio by Brazilian director Fellipe Barbosa, who's here to talk about his award-winning film, Gabriel and the Mountain. Fellipe Barbosa, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Hello also to our film critic, Lisa Nesselson. Now, we're going to start looking at a scene from your film, Gabriel and the Mountain. It's based on your school friend, Gabriel Bookman, who travelled to Africa and sadly died on the slopes of a mountain in Malawi in 2009. Tell us the story of the film.
So the film retraces his last 70 days of life in Africa. He was actually traveling the road for 1 year, and we meet him already in his 10th or 9th month of travel. And we go from Kenya to Tanzania, Zambia and Malawi, so 4 out of the 7 countries that he did in Africa. And he was mainly interested in living with the people and traveling not like a tourist. He was also getting ready for a PhD in public policies for poor countries at UCLA, where he had just gotten a full scholarship. So he took a sabbatical year to travel and meet people and live with them as much as possible and climb mountains as well, which he loved.
OK, well, I'll stop you there. We'll come back and talk more about the film in a minute, but let's take a look at a clip of the film.
This is my older brother. He has 2 wives. Yes, it's normal in Maasai land.
Even I want to add one more.
Plus, 8 kids.
8 kids?
Yes.
And having kids in Maasai land is an investment.
Really?
Yeah, it's wealth. It shows how wealthy you are. So the more kids you have, the more wealthy you are. Can you imagine that?
Yeah. In Brazil, it's the opposite.
How many kids should you have in Brazil?
No, the more kids you have, more money you have to spend too.
No, it doesn't happen like that.
Now, the people we see there in the film are the real people that Gabriel interacted with in his travels. Why did you make that choice to put them in the film?
Well, I mean, I think it was the only way to make this movie, actually. We didn't have a structure to actually make a casting session in 4 countries that cover about 6,000 kilometers. So after each meeting, I was looking for them, right? Both in 2011 and 2015, I did research trips, and I was looking for them. And each new person and character I found, I was more convinced that that would be the only way to do it. I mean, one of the goals of the film was really try to retrace his steps as faithfully as possible. Usually in the real places where he's been, you know, same hotel rooms. The same place where he was found by the people who found him. And in each new character I met, I had the feeling that he had done the casting for me, because they were all very beautiful people, very charismatic. And I was, in the beginning when I was doing the research, I was playing Gabriel myself with them, and it worked.
You're not just telling the story of Gabriel because it's interesting to you. You actually knew him. I believe you were friends from the age of 7. Besides being Brazilian, both of you, what else did you have in common?
I think this thirst for adventure and to go out, to leave our place, you know. I also love to travel. I also love mountains. We have many things in common, and we both have many contradictions. And so I guess it was easy to tell a story of Gabriel through me and vice versa, and also tell my story through him in a way, you know. So many times I felt like it could be me here, you know, in this place doing this. I had been in Uganda before him. So in 2007, I went to teach a course of editing in a lab in Uganda, in Kampala. So when I read the email that he sent to his family in 2009, which is in the film, which is like in the first part of the film, I really identified with his feeling. I recognize his feeling, which is a feeling of joy, of being there. It's a very romantic feeling of the first contact with deep Africa. Some kind of reconnaissance, you know, of like going back to our origins, and there's so many things that there's so much that's intimate between us, so much intimate relationship, I guess, between our cultures. And I also didn't want to leave. I wanted to stay there. I changed my ticket many times, and he also wanted to stay, I feel, you know. That's why he stayed forever.
His underlying motivation was to study poverty and the mechanisms of poverty. And especially toward the end of the story, Gabriel himself doesn't really have any money of his own, which causes problems. But then again, he comes from a background, a privileged one, that he can return to. Some of the other people don't have this option. So after making the movie, have your own opinions about wealth and poverty changed?
It's a tough question. Well, I think that's... I'm not sure if it's after making the movie or through my experience there, my research, but I think, well, there's in a broader way, there's not such thing as poverty unless the rich one arrives. Right? This is something that I really felt, you know, because who am I to say that they are poor if they have something to eat, if the kids are going to school, and if they have a sandal on their feet, you know. So it's a very relative thing. You can only perceive it because of our presence there, in a way. And it's but something that always struck me in those countries is how much people are willing to share the very little they have, and that's very beautiful, you know. It's always a lesson of humanity.
Fellipe, your film is called Gabriel and the Mountain, but we're going to talk about some of the other releases of the week now, including Barbara, or Barbara, as they're saying in France, from the director Mathieu Amalric. A colleague asked me, is this film about Barbara Streisand? But France have their very own Barbara, don't they?
Indeed, they do. And France has a long tradition of entertainers who just have one name, and everybody in this culture, at least, knows who you're talking about. This is actor Mathieu Amalric's 7th film as a director, and it's only the 2nd one that I've personally enjoyed. I liked his previous film, the psychological thriller called The Blue Room. That worked, and so does this one. This is a really unconventional, rough-hewn sort of kaleidoscopic way of looking at the life of a real person. The singer Barbara, it's kind of extraordinary when you think about it, because she was actually a Jewish girl of Ukrainian heritage who came to represent a certain kind of absolutely French sophistication and a French way of approaching songs. Her songs are the kind of things that tell a story, beautifully chosen words, very catchy melodies. You hear them once, they start, you know, moving around in your head. It's based in a lot of ways on documentary footage that we have of the real Barbara, but Mathieu Amalric has cast himself as a director making a movie about Barbara in which Jeanne Balibar, an actress named Brigitte, is playing Barbara. So all of these components are, it's very, very, very meta. Let's just take a look.
Je vous dirai du bout des lèvres, je vous aime du bout du cœur. Et nous pourrons vivre mon rêve, mon rêve.
Do you ever heard of Barbara, the singer?
I don't remember.
Okay, well, you can watch the film. Mathieu Amalric is a French actor who's been getting behind the camera for a while now. Did you like this film, then?
I did, actually. It opened the Un Certain Regard sidebar in Cannes, and there was a very, very, very long standing ovation. And although I liked the movie at a certain moment, I didn't know whether people were applauding for the very fact that Barbara, who died 20 years ago, had existed and her work was still with us, or because they liked the film itself. But it's very experiential and weird, and yeah, I liked it.
Well, the Venice Film Festival is getting underway this week. Fellipe, you were in Cannes, the Cannes Film Festival, with your latest film, Gabriel and the Mountain. You've also travelled to various festivals with your last film, Casa Grande. How important are festivals to a filmmaker?
For me, they've been very important. It's like the first door. It's the first window to the world, you know. It's where the film gets to be seen by many programmers from other festivals and by buyers as well. And hopefully we get to sell them like we did in Cannes to a few territories. And it's an opportunity to have a contact with the audience to really feel the reception of the film in a very direct way.
So what's on the billing at this year's Venice Film Festival?
Well, this is kind of abstract, but there's things that jump out. There is the new film by Abdelatif Kechiche, who we last heard from 4 years ago when his Blue is the Warmest Color won the top prize in Cannes. And this one is called Mektoub, My Love, Canto Uno. It's apparently based on an autobiographical novel by François Bergadeau, who wrote the script for L'Encanté's Entre les Murs, The Class. There's also a new film by Frederick Wiseman, only 3.5 hours, I think, which is short for him, documentary called Ex Libris, the New York Public Library. And I am absolutely fascinated by repositories of human wisdom, and that's a beautiful building, and he'll be behind the scenes.
Are you a fan of Frederick Wiseman? I can see you nodding.
Oh yes, no, he's one of the best, the master.
3 hours of a library, go on.
Out of competition, William Friedkin has a documentary called The Devil and Father Amorth. Now, it's been 43 years since he made The Exorcist, and he's made a documentary about a man who, in this day and age, actually performs exorcisms. So I'm interested in whether there really is evil in the universe that needs to be thrown out.
Okay, is there one thing in particular we should look out for?
Absolutely. They have gone back and 3Dified, if that's a word, the long music video for Michael Jackson's Thriller. And I think that's going to be quite exciting. And they have a documentary side by side about the making of the original one. It's hard to remember now, but when this was made, music videos were just getting their start, and this was spectacular.
Well, another film that's premiering in Venice is Suburbicon, directed by George Clooney. It's being described as a crime comedy drama. We'll leave you with that. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you also to Fellipe Barbosa, who's here to talk about your great film, Gabriel and the Mountain. Remember our website. We're also on Twitter and Facebook. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
I'm here to collect.
What do you want?
I want all of it. All of it.
Nothing like this ever happened here.
This is a safe place. It was.